Harold Thompson had lived a full life, though the years had worn him down. At 82, his once strong and sturdy frame had grown frail, and his hearing wasn't as sharp as it used to be. Harold was a widower. His beloved wife, Margaret, had passed away 10 years ago. The house they'd shared now felt too quiet, filled with memories that echoed off the walls. Yet amidst the loneliness, Harold found joy in one constant: his adopted son, Daniel. Daniel had come into Harold and Margaret's lives when he was just 4 years old. The boy had been quiet and reserved, but Harold had seen a spark in him, a determination to rise above his difficult beginnings. Over the years, Daniel grew into a kind-hearted man with a strong sense of duty, and Harold couldn't have been prouder. They were close, but lately Harold had started feeling like a burden. His health was declining, and Daniel seemed busier than ever with his job and family. It was a crisp autumn morning when Daniel arrived at Harold's home. Harold was sitting in his favorite armchair, a blanket draped over his legs. He looked up as Daniel entered, smiling warmly. "Morning, Dad," Daniel said, his tone cheerful. But Harold noticed something different. Daniel seemed nervous. The smile didn't reach his eyes. "Morning, son," Harold replied, setting down the book he'd been pretending to read. "What brings you by so early?" Daniel hesitated, rubbing the back of his neck. "I was thinking we could go for a drive. There's something I want to talk to you about." Harold felt a pang of unease. He'd always trusted Daniel, but the younger man's tone suggested this wasn't just a casual outing. Still, Harold nodded, deciding not to press. "Let me grab my coat." The drive was quiet at first. The trees lining the road were a kaleidoscope of red and gold, their leaves fluttering to the ground. Harold watched them absently, his thoughts racing. Daniel had been unusually attentive lately, calling more often, stopping by with groceries, fixing things around the house without being asked. Harold had brushed it off as kindness, but now he wondered if there was more to it. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. "Dad, have you ever thought about— would you be open to moving somewhere else? Somewhere with more help?" Harold's stomach tightened. There it was, the conversation he'd been dreading. He'd heard the stories from friends, read the articles. Sons and daughters convincing their elderly parents to move into nursing homes, promising it was for their own good. Harold had always vowed he'd never end up in one of those places. He turned to Daniel, his voice steady but firm. "Daniel, if this is about a nursing home, I'm not going." Daniel glanced at him, startled. "Dad, it's not like that. Just trust me, okay?" But Harold couldn't shake the knot in his chest. The rest of the drive was tense, the silence heavy with unspoken words. When they finally pulled into the parking lot of a large modern building, Harold's fears seemed confirmed. He looked at the sign, Golden Horizon Retirement Village, and his heart sank. Daniel parked the car and got out, coming around to help Harold with his seatbelt. Harold shook his head, refusing to move. "I'm not going in there, Daniel. I won't do it." "Dad, please. Just come inside for a minute. I promise, it's not what you think." Reluctantly, Harold allowed Daniel to guide him inside. The lobby was warm and inviting, with plush chairs and a crackling fireplace, but Harold's mind was made up. He wasn't staying. He prepared himself to argue, to plead if necessary. A middle-aged woman with a friendly smile approached them. "You must be Mr. Thompson. It's so nice to meet you." Harold frowned, confused. "I'm not moving in," he said firmly. The woman laughed lightly. "Oh no, sir. This isn't for you. Daniel, would you like to explain?" Daniel stepped forward, placing a hand on Harold's shoulder. "Dad, this place isn't a nursing home. It's a community center. They run programs for seniors, art classes, fitness sessions, even book clubs. I thought you might like it. I know how much you miss being around people." Harold stared at his son, the knot in his chest loosening slightly. "So you're not trying to get rid of me?" Daniel's eyes softened. "Dad, I would never. You've given me everything. This is just about making sure you're happy. I know it's been lonely since Mom passed, and I thought maybe this could be a way for you to meet new friends, try new things." Harold felt a wave of relief and a twinge of guilt for doubting Daniel. He looked around the room again, this time noticing the cheerful chatter of a group playing cards in the corner, the laughter of women painting at easels. It didn't feel like a place of abandonment, it felt alive. The days that followed were transformative for Harold. He hesitated at first, attending just one event, a poetry reading, but the warmth of the people there drew him in. Soon, Harold was signing up for everything: gardening workshops, chess tournaments, even a cooking class. He found himself smiling more, looking forward to each new day. And through it all, Daniel was there, cheering him on. He visited often, sometimes joining Harold for an event or just sitting with him over coffee. Harold realized that Daniel hadn't just given him a second chance at a fulfilling life. He'd reminded Harold of the strength of their bond. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Harold turned to his son. "I'm sorry I doubted you, Daniel. You've always been there for me." Daniel smiled, his voice thick with emotion. "You're my dad. There's nothing I wouldn't do for you." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Harold felt a peace he hadn't known in years. He realized he wasn't a burden to his son, he was loved. And that made all the difference. And that's the story, guys. I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as I did in creating it. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss a new adventure. And if you really loved it, share this story with your friends and family. Let's spread the word together. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep exploring. Hope to see you soon. Bye.